I want to start with both of you, actually. Director Park, as you said at the beginning, you both worked together before on JSA, and 25 years ago, you also did a short film together. Had you been wanting to work together again, and how did it come about with No Other Choice?
그렇게 긴 세월이 흘렀다는 사실을 이렇게 세워보고서야 알았어요. 그러니까 늘 친하게 지냈기 때문에 뭔가 좀 한두 편 더 한 것 같다고 생각했는데 막상 계산을 해보니까 정말 오래됐더라고요.
Only after counting the years did I realize that it's been that long, because we've stayed close for over those years. So I've always thought we've made one or two extra projects together, but it really has been a while.
세월이 그렇게 빨리 흘러요. 그러니까 여러분도 가까운 친구나 친척이나 자주 만나세요.
Time flies, guys, so you gotta meet up with your close friends and cousins.
Mr. Yu, what was it like working with Director Park again after, was it like falling back into a familiar rhythm? Or?
감독님은 그 이전이나 지금이나 변한 게 하나도 없어요. 똑같은 성품이고 그렇기 때문에 뭐 촬영장에서 저는 너무 편하게 했고 다만 조금 달라진 게 있다면 어렸을 적에는 제가 무슨 아이디어를 내거나 막 이렇게 여러 가지 좀 더 좋은 생각이라고 생각해서 많이 말씀을 드리면 그런 아이디어가 적용되는 경우가 없었는데 이번 영화에서는 아이디어를 낼 때마다 너무 좋다고 계속 그렇게 한번 해보자고 해서 나중에 약간 좀 겁이 나더라고요. 이게 내가 이 영화가 잘못되면 그 모든 책임을 다 온팡 뒤집어 쓸까 그런 걱정을 하면서 좀 했어요.
I don't think Director Park has changed over the years. He's always had the same character, the same personality. But I think the only difference is back when we were both younger, when I offered ideas, he didn't take any of them. Even though they were great ideas. But for this film, I suggested ideas, and he actually said, "Those are great ideas, we should take that in." And I actually started to get scared, because I thought to myself, what if this movie fails because of me?
This movie is dedicated to Costa Gavras, who had directed an earlier version of the Donald Westlake novel, from which both are adapted. When did you first read this novel and decide that you wanted to adapt it into another film?
2004년 아니면 5년이었던 것 같고요. 그러니까 책장을 완전히 덮기도 전에 이미 영화화하고 싶다는 생각을 했습니다. 그러나 실제로 작업을 시작한 건 2009년이었습니다. 왜냐하면은 먼저
I think I first read the novel around the year 2004 or 2005, and even before I closed the book, I already knew that I wanted to adapt this into a film. But I think I actually started working on the adaptation around 2009.
The novel was published in the late 90s, and it was, I understand, I haven't read it, but it was also about corporate downsizing at a paper company. So a lot has been preserved in the film, but did you make changes to it to reflect the present day, or was it okay as it was?
두 가지 면에서 하나는 한국으로 옮기는 거죠. 원래는 미국 영화로 계획했었거든요. 최근에서야 한국 영화로 바꾼 건데 이렇게 한국으로 바꾸는 과정에서 변화가 있었고 그다음에 세월이 흘렀으니까 2024년 촬영할 때 그때 그 시간의 변화 때문에 생긴 게 있었고 그렇게 두 가지가 있었죠.
So there are two differences. The first one came from changing the location to Korea, which is actually a relatively recent change. And another difference came from the fact that many years have passed. So by 2024, which is when we were working on the film, we had to reflect the change of time.
한국으로 바꾸면서 생긴 변화는 뭐 우선은 집이라는 그 진짜 그 집 그 자체 부동산 집 그것에 대한 그 만수의 집착 그것이 좀 더 한국적인 물론 이게 어디서나 이해는 할 수 있는 요소지만 좀 더 한국인의 정서에 가깝고 그다음에 가부장적인 그런 제도의 흔적이 아직도 있는 남아 있는 한국에서 아버지는 일해야 한다, 남편은 일해야 한다라고 하는 그런 의무, 그 책임감 그런 것을 더 강하게 느끼죠. 물론 그것도 역시 다른 나라에서도 다 이해될 수 있는 문제지만 한국에서 조금 더 강하다고 할 수 있죠.
So the change that came from changing our location to Korea was Mansu's obsession with house or real estate. I felt like that was more of a Korean sentiment. I'm sure everybody would understand that obsession as well, but it was especially stronger in Korea. And another thing is emphasizing the traces of a patriarchal society, which I believe is especially stronger in Korea as well. The responsibilities of what a good husband or a dad should be doing, that also was a distinctly Korean element, despite the fact that I'm sure a lot of people in other cultures could also relate to it.
그리고 시대의 흐름에 따라서 이제 바뀐 것은 당연히 AI라는 개념의 등장 영향을 받아서 여기서 소등 시스템이라고 일컬어지는 전자동화 공정이 이제 엔딩을 크게 바꾸게 됐죠.
And another difference came from the passage of time, as I've mentioned earlier. So we reflected the recent introduction of AI, which was especially portrayed in the automatic lights out system.
그리고 제가 이제 처음부터 가졌던 아이디어인데 원작과 다른 가장 중요한 것은 이거예요. 그 아내와 아들이 만수가 하는 일을 알게 된다라는 것입니다. 그것이 이 영화의 결말을 아주 본질적으로 바꾸게 만들었죠.
And another difference was an idea that I had from the start, which was that Mansu's wife and son find out what he's been doing, which significantly changed the ending of the film.
Byung-hun, I want to bring you in more. There is so much wonderful physical comedy in your performance, and I feel like there is not a hill in this movie that you don't get thrown down or kicked down or something. And it's just one part of the performance. But can you talk about that? I mean, I know it's physically demanding as well, but what was it like doing that and embracing the clownishness of this character?
막상 제가 촬영하고 있는 동안에는 이게 어떤 슬랩스틱이라는 어떤 그런 코미디에 해당되는지도 또 사람들이 이야기할지도 몰랐어요. 다만 진짜 그 상황에 가장 적합한 어떤 리액션을 취했다고 생각했고 그런 연기를 했다고 생각했는데 베니스에선가 처음 영화가 보여지고 나서 그런 어떤 기자의 리뷰를 봤어요. 슬랩스틱 코미디에 대한 이야기가 굉장히 일단 많았고 그래서 처음으로 슬랩스틱이었구나 라는 생각을 했었고 두 번째는 사실은 저런 코수염만 하는 그런 어떤 모양은 한국에서는 사실 흔하지 않은 어떤 모습이에요. 그런데 이제 그런 모습의 사람이 저런 슬랩스틱을 하고 맨 마지막 씬에서 특히나 막 공장 현대화된 혹은 AI 시스템에 도입된 공장에서 갈팡질팡 어떻게 어디로 가야 할지 모르는 이런 모습들이 모던 타임스의 찰리 채플린을 연상시킨다라는 그런 어떤 리뷰도 기자의 리뷰도 봤어요. 그래서 이런 모든 것들이 또 그렇게 보니까 그런 식으로 해석이 또 되는 경우가 있구나라는 생각을 나중에 했었죠.
So when I was shooting the film, it never occurred to me that people would label it slapstick comedy. At the moment when we were shooting, it just felt like the adequate reaction or the adequate performance for the situation of the story. But when the film was first released in Venice, a journalist discussed the film and he talked a lot about slapstick comedy. And that was the first time it occurred to me that what I had done was slapstick comedy. And another thing was that mustaches aren't very common in Korea, but when I saw people talk about a mustached man doing slapstick comedy and how fascinating that was also very new revelation for me as well. And at the end of the film, when this mustached man is at this automated factory and he doesn't know where to go, some critic called it resembled Charlie Chaplin of the film Modern Times, which I also thought was a very fascinating interpretation.
two great films about work. No murder in this film goes precisely according to plan, and which is very funny. And Young-hyun, I feel like your character, we are with you at every moment, even when you are about to do something horrible, and then we feel sorry for you because the horrible thing goes awry. Do you think about the audience's sympathy and keeping that, or does that not even matter when you're just in the character?
영화를 찍고 나중에 이제 감독님하고 이야기를 한 부분이에요. 근데 감독님의 의도는 사실은 누가 실직을 했다고 해서 사람을 죽여서 내가 그 자리를 차지해야 되겠다는 생각을 한다는 것은 사실은 우리가 쉽게 생각하지 못할 그런 굉장히 영화적인 설정이라고 생각을 해요. 그렇기 때문에 사람들이 처음에 이 만수라는 인물에 감정이입을 했다가 어느 순간은 살짝 거리를 두게 되는 그런 어떤 순간을 의도하셨다고 얘기를 하셨어요. 그러면서 내가 감정을 몰입을 한 저 캐릭터가 저러면 안 되는데 하는 약간 그런 안타까움, 나중에 가서는 어떤 연민까지 느끼는 그런 어떤 거리감을 두고 관객과 주인공이 거리감을 두고 가는 것을 의도했다고 하셨는데 저는 사실은 만수에 최대한 몰입한 상태로 연기를 했지만 그런 어떤 감독님의 이야기를 듣고는 충분히 관객들은 거리감을 두고 날 보겠구나라는 생각을 나중에 하게 됐죠.
So this was something that I discussed with Director Park after the film was made. But usually, just because someone loses their job, their immediate thought isn't to go kill people to take their job. So I think it's a very filmic premise that doesn't really happen in real life. But so in the beginning, the audience is empathizing with Mansu, and then they feel a sense of distance later in the film. So when they watch this character that they were initially very much emotionally invested in fall into this rabbit hole of murder, they feel this frustration and later perhaps a bit of sympathy for the character as well. So when I later heard that Director Park, it was his intention to create a distance between Mansu and the audience. Of course, when I was performing the character, I was completely immersed in the character. But once I heard him talk about that, it did occur to me that there would be a sense of distance between the audience and the character.
Director Park, I want to ask about just the dazzling visual invention of the film. I think every person I've talked to about the movie with has mentioned the beer shot, the beer, just who would think to put a camera there? And you are that director. And I'm just curious, when you're on the set, is it a storyboarding thing? Is it just, do you have, knowing where you're going to put the camera each time in a fabulously inventive way that we haven't thought of?
그것은 정확히 말하자면 맥주는 아니고 폭탄주죠. 그러니까 위스키가 맥주잔 안에 들어 있습니다. 그게 제일 중요한 건데요. 그냥 맥주하고는 다르다. 그 위스키 잔이 그 안에서 쓰러지면서 그것이 섞인다. 섞여서 뭐가 들어간다. 그리고 다 넘어가면 그 안에 들은 위스키 잔과 그 커다란 맥주 잔 사이에 그 소리가 부딪히면서 소리 있고 그 안에서 굴러다니고 그리고 위스키 잔이 만수의 입에 떨어지고 그런 소리들 그런 것들이 가장 중요하다고 생각했어요. 맥주의 그 거품이 내는 소리부터 시작해서 이 마실 때 처음에 따를 때부터 시작해서 마실 때까지 소리가 굉장히 제일 중요하다고 생각했기 때문에 그 소리를 잘 표현할 수 있는 카메라 앵글이 뭔가를 고민한 결과 이렇게 된 겁니다.
So quick correction, it's what we call a bomb shot in Korean. So it's not just the beer, it's a whiskey shot inside the beer. So it's different from a normal beer. But as this whiskey shot falls, it mixes with the beer and it creates a new substance of alcohol in that class. And in the scene, I thought that when you hear the clink of the whiskey shot and it rolls over and it falls into Mansu's mouth, in this moment, I felt that the sound was the most important element of the scene. From the fizz of the beer to when he's drinking the beer, sound was very important. And I simply thought what angle would portray the sound the best, and that was the angle I came up with.
We're almost at time, but I have just one more question. You know, this movie, there is such an element of rage and class rage, anti-capitalist rage in it, and it's very funny at the same time. And I just wonder how you achieve that layering. It doesn't feel arrived at by accident, but how are you keeping these elements all at the same time in concert with each other?
예, 그거 참 설명이 정말 밤새도록 해도 다 못할 것 같은데 글쎄요. 그러니까 저는 이렇게 생각해요. 이것들이 다 다른 것들이다. 그래서 그것을 잘 배합한다, 밸런스를 잡는다, 잘 섞는다. 저는 그렇게 접근하지 않습니다.
Well, I could talk about this all night, but when you asked the question and you mentioned how there's different layers and different elements and you have to find the right balance or combine them together, that was not the approach that I took.
그것은 그냥 분리할 수 없는 하나다. 예를 들면 웃긴다라는 것도 만수가 어리석기 때문에 웃기는 거거든요. 그러니까 만수가 하는 그 선택이 너무 바보 같기 때문에, 그리고 그 수행 과정이 너무 서툴기 때문에 거기서 웃음이 나온단 말이죠. 그러니까 그것은 하나예요. 근데 그렇게 어리석은 행동을 하는 사람을 보고 있으면 슬프잖아요. 불쌍하고. 그러니까 여기서도 역시 코미디와 비극은 또 하나가 됩니다.
I see them all as an inseparable single entity. This film is funny because Mansu is foolish. His choices are very foolish, and he's also very clumsy in the execution of his choices. So all of this is one thing, but at the same time, you feel very sad watching someone act so foolishly and being so clumsy. So even in this moment, we see how tragedy and comedy lives in the same moment.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on this film.